What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of From the Sideline. Let me get my damn lights together over here. They're all crooked and stuff. You know, I had to move a couple of things around here, but how you guys feeling today, man? I'm your host, Troy, and I'm back with the boys. What's up, fellas?
What's the word?
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. How you feeling? We got Boo Wop, formerly known as Wop. No, let me stop. We got GK. Are you with me? What's up, GK?
Yo.
And we got the cousin Marcus back in the building. What's up, cousin Marcus?
Not much, man. Not much. Just chilling.
You ready to get into some basketball? We got some basketball on the dock for today. Ooh, why you look like you sick, bro?
I'm looking at some shit on the
I know you nigga look like he's sick. Nah, but so did you guys hear what Kat said? Is Kat's recent comments?
Yeah, I seen it.
Kat said, and I quote, "He's one of the best offensive players the NBA has ever seen." G Baby will love this topic right here. Sorry we can't have G Baby Trent today or SB. Shout out SB taking care of his daughter, bro. But what are you guys' feelings on Kat saying he's one of the best offensive players the NBA has ever seen?
I hate it.
I feel like-
I hate it. I hate it.
I feel like that's the mentality that you need to have as a player.
Is there a thing such as reality and what did Mike Tyson call it? Oblivion?
Man,
Has ever seen.
Yeah.
If that's what
I understand why he's saying it. I understand why he's saying it because he, big man and yada yada yada, best shooter in. But like, it can't like. This is why I hate this whole skill movement. This ball don't stop shit. This is why I hate it because we can only vacuum what these players do so much. Like you don't go out there on the court. It's not it's not like figure skating where it's just a display of skill and somebody gives you a grade. Like it's a goal when you on the court. And of course, everybody is not going to be a champion or be an MVP or be this or be that. Like that's just reality. But at some point, like your success, and yeah, it's a team game, but like your success gotta mean something. It has to. Like it can't be all about just everything in a vacuum checkbox of what his skill set is. Like what have you done? Have the Wolves ever even been I think this year they was close to top 5. They was probably like 8 or 9. Have the Wolves ever been an elite offense while you've been with them for going on 8 years? And you one of the best offensive players we've ever seen? Have you ever been top 10 in scoring? You ever averaged 26? You ever, like what?
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to debate that, but I think that's what every player has to tell themselves. Like I don't know if you ever seen Any Given Sunday and what's his name? The dude that used to be a host on MTV that was the receiver. Like in the locker room before the game, he's just talking
Bill Bellamy.
Huh?
Talking about Bill Bellamy.
Yeah. And he's just like, you're the best receiver that there ever is, that there ever was. Like da-da-da. Like I just think like as a player, like that's just what you tell yourself.
Yeah. Keyword, tell yourself, not tell others. That's the thing right there. Like I would have been fine with him just having that mentality because that's within yourself. Once you start putting it out there, now you bring on like people like us and just anybody's gonna like. Why is he saying that? I'm gonna have to. Question. I don't see anything that suggests that he's one of the best offensive players that the league has ever seen.
Did he just say like, "Hey, I need to have a press conference. I got something to say," or like? did somebody ask him a series of questions where like that was part of the context and like somebody just grabbed that quote, you know, and isolated it? Because like I feel like people get that done to them all the time, and it's like, you know. But I don't think really anybody's going to debate.
I mean, it was basically a reporter asked him how does he think he's going to pair alongside playing with Rudy Gobert? How do they think their offense going to look? Because Rudy's not, quote unquote, a offensive guy.
He said, I think, sorry, Buwap. He said, I think that Rudy's one of the best defensive players we have ever seen in the NBA. He has the hardware to prove it, Towns said. I think I'm one of the best offensive players and talents the NBA has ever seen. So putting us together gives us really a whole spectrum of talent to use. That was the whole quote.
I don't have a problem with it.
Cousins, you still listening?
It's too much for me. I'm reading it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I know it sounds like contradictory, but like, if that's what you got to do to psych yourself up.
If you were to make a list, he's not going to be the first on it.
Yeah,
he's not going to be the 20th on it.
I don't have a problem with him saying that. Like,
he said, Towns said,
you gotta have some element of.
He's more capable of defending out of the perimeter than his reputation may indicate, and added he's willing to sacrifice to make the partnership work. I've sacrificed at every level. I'll sacrifice narratives of me. I'll sacrifice possibly being the number one pick in college when I'm fully.
What is he talking about now, bro? Like,
what?
He's trying to probably
sacrifice.
Say, like,
when I fully accept the platoon system, you know, no one else does that. Down said, I came to the NBA. I sacrificed everything I can, my body included, to try to get us to the playoffs. I sacrificed everything. I sacrificed my life. I sacrificed my time with my mother. I can feel that. I sacrificed my public opinion of me, all for the G baby right there. That's G baby. All for the betterment of the team, my teammates, their lives, what they're trying to accomplish. I don't like that ending there, but I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but to still say that you're one of the best offensive players the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah, you got to have.
We could go down a list of big men, and I don't think he would end up in the top 20.
Wouldn't even end up in the top 30 at this point. Like, I'm just being realistic. He's not a top 30 big man of all time, probably, like right now. Like, and he should be based off what he's saying.
What about just raw talent? He top 30 raw talent.
All right, offensive. You want to do
maybe raw talent, maybe if you're talking like skill set, because then guys like DeMarcus Cousins is easily top 15. But
yeah, just like capability.
Yeah, I get that, but nah. I still need to see the somewhat success. Like, outside of last year, this is the first year where you can kind of say he was the best player on his team.
I want to do it
and led them to the playoffs.
Bill Russell.
But then also, like, what if
is he a better offensive player?
Hypothetically, what if they gave him the ball?
Bill Russell. Oh yeah.
All right, Kareem.
No.
That's 2. Shaq.
No.
Will.
No.
4. Hakeem Olajuwon. George Mikan.
No.
Moses Malone.
No.
David Robinson.
No.
Patrick Ewing.
No.
Willis Reed.
That's a little bit more debatable, but like,
anybody else can answer. It don't just got to be Boo Up. Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
Bill Walton.
My fault. I was doing something. He over Robert Parrish. He not over Bill Walton.
No.
All right, so that's 10. Bob McAdoo.
No.
Wes Unseld.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, there's 2 over. We have 15 now. Irvin Hayes.
No.
Dolph Hayes. I don't know.
Dolph Shays.
There you go.
I think Dolph Shays has some numbers. This shit was definitely way pre-merger.
All-time leading
Nate
scorer in the league. Who?
Nate,
Nate Thurman. Yeah,
there
he's
you
probably
go,
a better
Thurman.
offensive.
Yeah, he better.
We just talking about offense, right?
Offense, right?
Right. Yeah, he's better than him offense.
Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier.
Lambeer.
I don't
No,
know.
not Lanier.
Lanier. Bob Lanier.
Oh, Bob
He
Lanier.
played for the Pistons.
I can't speak on it.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
Artis Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I can recall, yeah.
That's tough. That's 20. I'm not going no
Lanier.
further.
I don't know. That's kind of tough because the lens I view it in is like
Alonzo Mourning.
If like nobody went to the NBA yet, and you were just watching them,
Jerry
like,
Lucas.
as if you're evaluating like college prospects.
I'm not going to say Mutombo.
Like he probably would get drafted pretty high, I would say, amongst all of them.
Yeah, in today's NBA, yeah. I mean,
obviously, yeah.
In
But
today's NBA, of course.
That's the evolution part. You can't like take from these players. You can't hold it against the players that came before them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mark Eaton.
At the end of the game, everything had a template.
Clyde Lovely.
And
Bill Lambier. Ben
yeah, he better than them guys. he better than them guys.
Offensively, yeah, but I'm not.
Nah, no, offensively, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
I'm taking Yao Ming over Cat any day though.
Well, Yao Ming had a lot of finesse.
That's a lateral move.
I'm twirling. Yeah. What about Vlade Divac?
Yeah, he got Vlade.
Definitely got Vlade.
Yeah, he got Vlade.
They called him Kitty Cat.
Sure, definitely called him Kitty Cat.
I mean, I do think that.
Is he better than Joker?
Hell no.
I'm just adding 2 more names to the list.
Yeah.
Dirk?
Well, no.
I feel like he's more talented.
LeBron played power forward. LeBron?
More talented than who?
Like, just things you can do with the basketball. I would say there's more things he can do, but he just doesn't make any type of impact.
Then who though? Like then the last guy Troy just mentioned, Dirk.
Like if I'm thinking like Dirk, Joker,
go power forward,
Embiid,
those are centers. Go power forwards.
He's obviously not as good as any of them, but
offensively, we're talking about.
Offensively, definitely not as skilled as Jokic. Just not even a question. Not even a question.
Yeah, he can't touch them 3. He can't touch them, and like, yeah.
All right. Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin McHale, Charles Barkley.
None of them guys.
Anthony Davis, Chris Webber, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Love, Blake Griffin, Sean Kemp.
LaMarcus maybe.
And Chris Bosh to a degree. I might can see Chris Bosh.
Amari Stoudemire. They threw Giannis up there.
Are you sure?
Antoine Jameson, Elton Brand, Carlos Booth. Yeah. All right, now we get into the cream of the crop.
If you're talking about offensively, yeah, I think he's a better passer than Bosh for sure.
Like Toronto Bosh?
Yeah.
Because I thought he was pretty damn versatile, scoring a lot of different ways.
Prime Carlos Boozer is nasty.
When I think of offense, I think of scoring and passing. And I'm thinking like scoring wise, I think Cat's a better shooter than Bosh. Post wise, I would like Bosh, but the passing is what I probably say Cat kind of slightly better than them at.
When was this list made? This list was made July 16th, and this shit don't got Cat on it. Do it. top 50 power forwards. I see Giannis. I don't see no goddamn Cat.
He's talented, but
he sold that shit, man.
It's up here, man.
He also doesn't have that type of personality.
Sam,
he's like, give me the ball every play, you know.
You say Bosh better than Cat? NBA.
That go with it. The mentality. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you ain't putting the pedal to the floor,
Yeah, no, that's
you end up being
that's where I
cat.
think he's lacking.
Yeah, I don't know. This
He was
like
more
a
of like a no, like give me the damn ball and then like get out my goddamn way, you know.
he getting some of it. Like last year, you could tell he was getting being around Ant-Man and being around Patrick Beverly. He was getting a little bit of it, but
Was rubbing off on him.
yeah, but that's
A little
just
bit.
that's
Well,
clearly
because
not his. That's not
in
his
his college
natural
days, I
temperament.
felt like he was never really like that, you know.
Yeah,
Like
he's very docile. Like
right, yeah.
That's my whole problem with him. Like, I mean, if somebody gotta help, quote unquote, get you that type of persona, like, I don't know.
Good, Sid. How you
I
been,
don't
bro?
know if I can really believe it. It's like I believe Anthony Edwards. Like, it's just Cat. I don't truly believe, or
Because if that's the case, then
I,
Cat's just got to accept the fact that he's the complimentary one.
yeah,
yeah, for the most part, yeah. But I think just like
I
based off
feel
of
you.
this
I just got
statement,
off
I
work.
don't know if he feels this way based off of that statement. Like, I think he still think it's like seriously his team. Like, and I don't agree with that. Like, I think this team is leaning towards Ant-Man being potentially the best player on the team.
22 points a
And
game.
he could definitely be a number two option, but he has to adapt that mindset. And again, based off that statement he just said, I don't know if he has that mindset because best offensive players, bro, that's like reserved. The only guy that can say something like that is guys that we know, like James Harden. And even James Harden get a lot of pushback when people say that he's one of the best offensive players the game has ever. People will still give it pushback, and he's done a lot in this league. Like, Cat, come on, bro, stop it. This is a joke
this
right now.
this would be a great year to go prove it. You can go
Facts.
back. You can
Shut
go
me
back
up.
to you go back to your natural position. You ain't the anchor of the defense no more. You gonna of course your space is gonna be needed. So all that shooting, the you being the best big man shooter ever, like that's hey, what more can you like what the situation you in only gonna get so much better, like outside of something crazy happening. You got
I mean,
Right.
a good
I would
quality
expect him.
team, so that team shit is out the window. Like it's time for you to go out there and grown man something.
I would expect an uptick in offensive production from him.
No.
Because of the fact that like if he doesn't have to carry so much of the load on defense, like energy wise, because Gobert's gonna pick that up, and he can conserve most of his concentration and most of his like energy for offense, then I would hope that he's gonna be scoring more. But
We'll see if that's been the excuse. And then the thing with that is still like, dog, you ain't been no hellified defender at no point in your
right,
career.
yeah,
So it'd be different if you was like your anchoring ain't really
Yeah,
been.
if you was like the
Oh,
same type of defender that Rudy was,
yeah,
then or close to
then
it, then we could be like, all right, because he said
then I understand
he's
why
a
you
better
only giving
perimeter
us 22 or
defender
23.
than it indicates. But I think you are as good as you show on the court, and I don't think you're a very good, perimeter defender. And I think the Grizzlies showed us that. The Grizzlies showed that you those big men in Minnesota cannot guard the perimeter.
what would you say is other than like we talked about his mentality, and then his like I guess perimeter defense is questionable. What would you say his other like deficiencies are?
I think his biggest one is impact, knowing how to impact his team. Like he can score and get points up, but those points a lot of time are impactful to his team winning.
Mm.
I think that's his biggest deficiency. It's like, yeah, you could say you're one of the best offensive players in today's game, but not all time. If you want to say you could probably fit him in the top 20 somewhere in today's game, especially amongst big men, he'll be in the top 10. But I don't know. Karl Anthony Towns for me has had years. He's been in the league 8 years now. He's had years to show that he can carry his team to the playoffs. Like ATN is saying about Chris Bosh. When Chris Bosh was full helm, he was taking his team to the playoffs. Couldn't win. Teams are better than them, but he was getting them there. he will get
He
them
got
in.
him there
So
twice.
who got him there twice? Chris Bosh.
Bosh.
Yeah,
Bosh.
I mean, getting his team in position. So
Yeah,
I mean, Cat had to get Jimmy to do that, and
I agree. I agree.
Jimmy came along and changed the culture. Then you think Cat, for me, you think Karl Anthony Towns would have learned something from Jimmy, but I just think he took the Jimmy experience as a bad experience and not understanding what Jimmy was trying to do.
But that's what we were talking about. Was so like his persona basically.
No, I just think it's his understanding of how to take in information from other players. Like I think with
that
Karl,
has to do with leadership.
100%. I wouldn't want him leading my team. He could be my center, but I wouldn't want him leading my team.
For me, it's just the whole not having a true identity. Like he didn't have to necessarily become a tough guy in a sense, right? Because I don't
choked out so many times.
I mean, that was a bad look. We know that, but again, I'm just talking about this whole thing where you can have a tough mentality, but not be a tough guy, right? Like Tim Duncan had a tough mentality, but he never was a guy that you seen like having to, defend his manhood or anything like that.
Yeah,
he just
mean
played the game the
and
right
scowling
way.
And all of that. Yeah,
he just played the game. And I just think Cat could have did that too. Like you don't have to be something that quote unquote that it's not the same to me. Like it's not the same as just being more dedicated to your craft or just having that focus and that edge. You don't have to be a tough guy. So that's my whole thing. Like I just wish he would find out who he really is and just play basketball because he does have talent. Like, and he could be a very, very crucial key to what this team is trying to do next year. Like, I mean, this year. Like he could be very.
But he's gonna have to accept his role in what the upcoming season bring because you got Rudy there now, who's gonna be the focal point on defense, and then you got Karl Anthony Towns that's taking over the leader of the team or being that front guy on the team. So that's just for him and D'Angelo Russell too, because I know D'Angelo Russell wants to see himself still as a top point guard, but it's coming to that time where the Wolves are now or never to me. Like even with Rudy being there, it's the next 2, maybe 3 years I would give him or never. Not never saying never in the NBA, but on that team, yes, I'm talking about in the league.
I mean, I'm just saying, even on that team, he still could be considered one of the best point guards in the league. He just has to play his role. And his role is to be kind of a facilitator and a guy that can get 16 to 17 points if need be. That's a pretty easy role in my estimation. Like, not to say that it's easy, but I'm just saying for a guy of his caliber, like I think that should be a very easy role for him to slide into.
Hey, post this. You see what Around the NBA just said? Post that. He said everything I was just thinking.
Damn, I can't even see the chats.
He said he doesn't have an identity. He's a good shooter, but he doesn't create his own shot like that. He's not as good as LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge would be a much better three-point shooter in today's era. The LaMarcus Aldridge thing, maybe not. But the thing about Cat not having a fuck-like personality, like he really don't have a basketball identity. Yes, he's supposed to be the best big man three-point shooter ever, but like, do you really trust him like that? Do you really trust his shooting like that?
It sounds like everybody's talking about that's like inner issues, right?
No, but I could even take away the mental, like the intangible
You're
part.
talking about just as a basketball player.
Just as a basketball player. Like, yes, you're statistically this epic 3-point shooter, but like he's not really knocked down like that. Not to me.
Yeah, like we understand like he got skill, but what does his skill translate to?
Exactly. Like, does Cat?
It's not in here for me. It's what he shows on the court. It's like, yeah, you could go out there and get me a win against the
Gilbert
team.
Arenas. Like, does Cat actually understand basketball?
Team you're supposed to be.
Thank you. That's who Gilbert should have been talking about. A guy like that. Like
does Cat understand basketball and how to win?
But
no, he doesn't know how to understand how to win. Jimmy tried to show him that, but he doesn't get it.
Where would you say his weaknesses are in just in terms of his skill sets?
He doesn't generate he doesn't generate a lot of rim pressure. He's not good in the post.
Okay.
And as far as his shooting goes, like, yes, he's a really good shooter, but it's not.
Wait, but is he actually not good in the post, or does he just not go in the post?
It's
he's in the
it's
post.
one and the same. If you don't do it,
It's one and the
it's
same, right?
yeah, it's like null. Like he could be
Because
the
I
best.
remember what they were
He could be
talking
the
about.
best post player in the world, but if you ain't never down there, then it's
It
Right,
don't
wasted.
even matter.
I believe it was when he was in either in college or one of his first like I think it was while he was still in college, and they were talking about like he can score in the post, but like he's not ever getting into the post and like calling for the ball, like give it to me in the post, like he just doesn't do it.
It's the same thing.
And it all comes back to that like mentality thing.
But
Yeah,
even
he ain't
watching,
going on.
but even watching, it's like yes, he could feast on somebody who just can't keep up with him physically. But and I'm not even saying compared to the best defensive centers. I'm just saying in general, like you're not particularly good in the post. Yeah, you're a good shooter, but you like now I'm thinking
Not a
of
good
like
rebounder.
yeah, now I'm thinking of like clutch time situations, and I don't mean like the very last shot. I'm just mean like
In the
it's
quarter,
a close
give your team a
game.
lift.
Yeah, it's a close game. It's 6 minutes left. Now we really depending on you and what your skill set is and what like. And I hate to do this because most people say he's the best player in the world, but like Giannis fully understands. I do one thing better than anybody else in the world. I drive to the basket and destroy everybody. Whether or not he make the shot, whether or not he draw a foul, whether or not he dishing or whatever, Giannis know like this is my automatic thing I can go to and it's gonna generate something. Cat don't got that.
I would say they're kind of like opposite. It's like
yeah,
like
one is a lot of skill with, and the mentality is just like dog.
Right, like Giannis is just like I'm gonna kill, and like it's not even that he's that has that advanced of like skills and talent per se, like with the basketball. It's more of just like he's very physically talented, and his mentality is like
he understands how to win. He understands.
Yeah.
This just make Gilbert Arenas feel so like sound even stupider, but like he just knows how to play basketball. Like, hey, now this is an important moment in the basketball game. The thing that I do really well, I need to do this thing really well. And boom. Like he legit just did that. And I don't know if y'all seen any of the highlights or been keeping up with they playing in Europe, the Eurobasket tournament. But Giannis just did that the last game. That was yesterday. He
but
had
it's
like
not only that, but it's like, no, give me the ball. I'm going to do this. Get out of my way. Like this is what's about to happen. It's like not.
But
with that,
you need.
He doesn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and also with that, you need to have something offensively that you can be like, okay, because you can't just get the ball and then like be mediocre. You got to have something you can rely on above everything else. With Embiid, he just like his footwork and his physicality, you can rely on that to a certain extent. With Jokic, we know his skill set, his passing, he can't shoot. Boom, you can rely on that. With Giannis, he head down. It's the biggest freight train in the world. You can rely on that. With Cat, it's like you could shoot, but you ain't like you don't really be knocking down clutch shots like that.
It's simple. It's like you're not Steph Curry, bro.
You can shoot, but it ain't enough to be like.
But he's not even Dirk.
He's definitely not Dirk.
Statistically, he is, but we know he ain't Dirk.
No, but but like you were saying, like when it comes down to, and it'd be like, all right, we know, like we already know, like Dirk, we're gonna give you the ball, and we know you're gonna shoot it, and probably gonna make it, and then we're probably gonna win. And with Cat, it's just not like that.
Yeah, like so even with the mental limitations he have, just straight up basketball wise, it's still like you still ain't quite developed enough to even if I gave you Giannis's drive and Giannis's fucking fearlessness, that's only gonna take you so far because you don't got one of those things that the other great big men in the league, the great offensive big men in the league can rely on. You just say, all right, it's time to push this button, boom. Like with Cat, it's like you big, you athletic, but you ain't Giannis or Embiid or you know what I'm saying. Your skill level really ain't like a Jokic, or your passing ain't like you just ain't quite that. You ain't quite none of that.
Like you just
or like,
and that's why
he's not a dominant player. It's simple.
Yeah, and that's why you average 23 instead of 28 or 29, like the great big man in the league is doing right now.
I wish you
like
could
that's where that separation is.
I wish you could just include like I feel like all the great fours and not all of them, but like a lot of great 4s and 5s they figure out a way to get their elbow jump shot, and like whether it's like Dirk's fadeaway or like Amari had one, Garnett, like they all had like in the elbow area consistent. Like we can count on you to get this elbow jumper, and I don't even see that from him either. So
I don't think they're taught to get elbow jumpers anymore. I think that's
and that right there
from AAU. Like when they're growing up playing ball, if you teach them fundamentals of having a go-to move, of having a fadeaway, a turnaround, like then they will keep that in their mind. I don't think Karl Anthony Towns, he either went through it and didn't like doing it, or went through it and got to the league was I don't need to do that shit no more. I can just shoot threes, or he's never had that experience of going through it, of a teacher telling him you need to have a go-to move, put your back to the basket, show me what you got. No, these are the things you can do. Like get in the gym, work with Elijah Wan. Like other big men have done it. Like even players that wasn't big men have gotten the league with other players just to hone some of their moves. You know, like he's got to do that if he wants to take his game to the next level. He doesn't have much longer. Like Cat doesn't have much longer in a window of opportunity to be relevant on his team enough to be a focal point of why they win a championship. Because Rudy's there now on defense. Cat Edwards is taking over. Like, what's going to happen to him in another 2 years? Like, is he still going to be there, or are they going to try to ship him out and move him further? Because he's the next piece to go. Him and D'Angelo is how I see it. Unless they're going to keep that core together, and I don't see them keeping that core together for much longer. I think you could build around Rudy. He's a defensive guy. You can put some offensive pieces around him. You just got to do it the right way for it to work.
Well, they're gonna build around Ant. They're not gonna build.
Yeah, right. But
Rudy.
I'm saying you're right. You build around Ant, and then you have Rudy too. So you get them pieces in between to fill in the what they need, and I think that team is better than having Cat on it in 2 to 3 years. I'm not saying right now.
I wouldn't see nothing wrong with that, because if Cat can somewhat remain statistically good in the next 3 years, but they don't win, then that makes them very likely to be a trade piece. You know what I mean? A good one too, because he might could help some other team, and that's going to be a reality check. Of course, you know, if your team gets rid of you and you go to somebody else's team, unless he goes to OKC and he's possibly still think he's the best player on this team. But I don't know, man. Like,
I think that time is coming going for him. When he was in the conversation of Embiid, then now it's his time to get there. But he's never lived up to being next to Embiid. Jokic came all the way from the bottom to the top to surpass both of them. Not in my eyes, but I got Embiid over Jokic. So not gonna get there. But he surpassed Cat. Jokic came up in either which way you look at it, whether he's first, second. He surpassed Cat, and I don't understand how Embiid can still be as relevant as he is with the injuries he has suffered, and Cat be playing in games and his name not be in that mix anymore. Now, when we're talking about the best big men in the league, there's players people will put in front of him. Ayton is one of them.
I don't think people consistently put Ayton in front of Cat.
Yeah, I can't quite say that.
I don't know if Ayton's better.
I think that's just
better than Cat.
I think the one player that people definitely put above him is his new teammate. I think people put Rudy over him.
I don't know if you can say
Bam to a certain degree.
I'm taking Bam over Cat.
Me too. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's overwhelming. Just like I think Rudy was more the guy that people really definitely kind of put over Cat. Like,
but how you get Rudy? If I'm Cat, like, how is Rudy above me and he only plays defense? That will kill me inside.
His impact matters.
That will kill. I'm just telling you, as a basketball player, that will kill me inside.
As Cat, it should hurt him, but it should just be like it's the same thing. Like, he should just think
together clear.
It's because Utah. I mean, Rudy Gobert provided Utah with an identity for many years, and something Cat hasn't done. Like, he has not gave his team an identity.
It would be fucked up.
And that's mostly because, like we're saying, he does not have an identity as a basketball player right now.
100%. I agree.
Well, you know how most players is, though. Most players just gonna be like, "Oh, they don't know what they talking about. He can't fuck with me."
It's just how
I'll dunk on that little motherfucker. Yeah,
I'll be like, 100%.
I'm talking about that's how Cat will feel about Rudy. Like, if he looked at a list and Rudy was over him, he'd be like,
6 times.
They don't know what they talking about. He can't fuck with me.
I'll give Cat some respect. If Rudy's in the paint, Cat got to dunk it. Rudy swatting that shit 6-7 times at a time.
But he
I'm going
should
7 out
feel
of
that
10.
way though. Like that should be the healthy player's mentality
Maybe
mindset.
like
Like
get that
can't nobody
shit
fuck with
out of
me, blah
here.
blah blah. But
Right.
we all
No, every
know
player.
what's up.
They said that every player should feel like that. But let's talk about other players, and they should feel like nobody can fuck with them. Steph Curry came out and he said that they looked into the Durant trade. They were open to getting Durant back on the team. Do you think that is because of who Durant is, or it just makes the job easier for Curry?
It just makes the team better. Like it's just. I don't think it's necessarily Steph reliant. I don't think it's about either of them specifically. I think it's about we know what they are together. We still like damn near got our same core from that time. Everybody a little older, a little more banged up, but shit, we was a little older and a little more banged up this year, and we seen what happened. So it just makes sense. Like even if, like I said this once before, no matter what, every team in the league, when that shit came out, KD requested trade. If you the GM, even if you know realistically that shit ain't gonna happen, you gotta make a call. You got to.
You got to.
You got to.
Or
If
you a
don't make
bad
a
GM
call,
Well,
already.
Curry's saying it's realistic. He said they looked into it. They had a conversation about it, and he was open to having KD back.
yeah. Steph's smart.
Why
Steph's
wouldn't
the
he
best,
be? He
the
won
best
2
superstar
rings with
teammate
him.
in the world.
Why wouldn't he? Like
Yeah.
he won 2 rings with him. It was they're good friends too. Like he said it. He loved Kevin Durant. Like he fuck with him.
I
Like
think Mel
I
got a point.
understand it.
I think Mel got
Yeah.
a point. He said he think they had unfinished business. They were upset that they lost to Toronto.
Yeah, that could be part of it, but it's just the reality is like Steph said, no disrespect to his teammates, but it'd be like laughable if they didn't even think about it. Like for real, like they have to think about it. It's Kevin Durant.
I think it just makes it easier because it's like
I knew he was going that route. That's why I asked the question.
the way I look at it is like think of like a pitcher like Aroldis Chapman. He mainly just has a fastball, right? So like the Warriors shown that like that's all they really need. Like they can just win with a fastball. But now like adding Durant's just adding like a curveball, a changeup. Like now it's just easier because you have more pitches and you can win that way too. And it's be a little bit easier than just trying to, do it without him.
Yeah. And it's not conceptual. It's not hypothetical. We synced it.
Right. That's
we
the
synced
thing.
it already. We synced it. We see how fucking even if you didn't like that period of time, like on a basketball level, we seen how fucking glorious it was when they was on the court together. Like it was beautiful. It just we synced it. You don't gotta theorize a fit or nothing like that. Like we synced it. It was perfect.
It just makes them more like their Swiss Army knife because then if you game plan or whatever or figure out a way to get some kind of stops or do this or like it just opens up the options for how many different more ways they can play, how many different more ways they can score. Like they can just do so many more different things and be able to make so many more adjustments by having him.
Yeah, but I do think the age this time around will play a little bit more of a factor because when they added Kevin Durant, they still had a strong bench. You know what I mean? The thing about it, they're going to trade a lot of those guys that helped them win the title this year to get Kevin Durant. So I don't know if that I know it's going to kind of hurt them, but I do think just having Steph and KD and Clay is just more than enough to still get you to the promised land. So I just still think their jobs are going to be a little tougher though still, but they can still get it done.
Wouldn't you say that like even then and that like they've kind of always been top heavy though and always, so.
Yeah, but they still had an 8-man rotation. That's what made them just you just knew like once they added Kevin Durant, you just knew it was nothing nobody can truly do.
And it was just younger. That was, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's 5 years ago. That's a lot of, what I'm saying? They was way fresher, all of them. Yeah, so. Now they 5 years older. That's a lot of time. We just seen Clay miss 2 whole years. Steph done missed a season and a half in that span of time. Draymond just missed half a season. They not for especially for the core. Like, yeah, Jordan Poole pretty reliable. And then it just depends. Not Jordan Poole. Well, he is, but Kevon Looney pretty reliable, but yeah, then you gut the bench, and it's like, and the Warriors is the one franchise I would trust to be like, man, they'll figure that bench shit out because they always have. Like they'll just figure it out.
Their
I believe
scouting
they
and
could.
talent evaluation has been so good.
Yeah,
So even if they don't have much room left money wise, like they're still gonna find like the right fit somehow, some way.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and
I
then they
just think
culture,
they
now
couldn't.
Steph is empowering everybody around them. Like that shit just worked.
And I
I
believe
just
in
think
that,
you
what you
got
just
to.
said. Like, let's say you get somebody who's not supposed to be there, but like their best, like all they can do is catch and shoots or something. And for some reason, they can just be like, "Hey, like you're an amazing catch and shooter. We're gonna give you catch and shoot, whatever."
Wiggins
like,
was pretty much a lost cause. Like what the he don't
exactly
really,
like yo,
great
you
for,
can play
like,
D and you can bring a lot of energy and athleticism. Like that's what we want you to do, and it's gonna show. And like you're gonna shine because that's what we're gonna have you do. And like you said, it's empowering them, and then they get that confidence, and then like it brings the best out of them, even probably more than what like their potential is supposed to be at that point.
I mean, unless you're literally Kevin Durant, right? Like you're not gonna come to this offense and do anything other than play alongside what Steph Curry do. You don't do what Steph do better than him, so you're not gonna be featured on his offense. Like you're gonna be a part of it. So I mean, you just gotta accept your role on this team because it's based off of what Steph does. Like at the end of the day, like, everything is based off what he does, and either you can play with it and adjust. That's why I say when Wiggins went there, I knew he was going to succeed because he came there and knowing like I'm not the man of this team at all. Like in the Timberwolves, like it was times where we thought he was going to be the future over Cat. You know what I mean? Like because that's just the way it was looking. Like when you come to Golden State, you already understand. Like all I got to do is play my role. That's it.
And especially it was perfect for
I just got to play quality basketball.
Because they probably look around and be like, all right, well, like, what type of seasoning could I add to this? Right? And it's like, all right, we need somebody that's going to bring some energy. And then somebody's that's going to be able to play some lockdown D and like this and that. Like, and then he's like, all right, let me just do that. And that's what he did. And then it worked.
I feel like Sean Marks probably definitely wanted Jordan Poole, depending on how far they talk.
Man, you know they wanted Poole and Wiggins if they was gonna pull it. They was gonna gut them. They was gonna get everything they could. But I think the Warriors would have pulled the trigger.
I don't know if they would have gutted them, but I think they would have got.
They would have gutted them because they was trying to gut everybody.
Nah, because if they could have got it closer to where.
What would they have been able to do? Like
GP left, Otis left, Porter left. They could have tied those two into it.
That's not enough.
Give me them two, and give me Poole and Wiggins too.
No, give me all of them because
I want them all.
No, because then they got to get the picks, and that's what Brooklyn was looking for. They wanted picks. They wanted a lot of picks with it.
They wanted the world.
Yeah, they wanted it all.
Everything.
Now we saw some of the trade reports of what they was offered. They were blowing smoke out of a fucking pipe that had powder in it. I don't know.
Bro, they told Phoenix we want.
That's why KD stayed, because they were like, we ain't doing
told shit. Phoenix they want Devin Booker, man. They want Poole and Wiggins.
Yeah. They tried to tell Boston they wanted Brown, and look how far they got.
Yeah, but certain teams just not gonna do it. Just like
that's called blowing smoke.
The Suns not
that's
gonna
called
do
blowing smoke.
That was
that's
serious
what the Nets were doing.
Wait,
they were blowing smoke?
Why you say they was blowing smoke?
Because they wasn't doing shit. That's why. And I said that from the get. They ain't
trading
KD.
You don't think they really meant what they was asking for?
No, they wasn't trading the KD nowhere. I don't care if they meant what they were asking for. They wasn't trading him nowhere. I don't care what package they got. I don't think they were ever going to trade him.
Are you talking about Brooklyn or the
Nets?
shooters?
I don't think they were ever going to trade KD.
Oh, you're talking about
they were trying to trade him.
No,
I think that
was to please him for the second, so they could get in his ear like they eventually did and make him stay.
He seen what it was.
No, they showed him what it was. He didn't see it. They showed him.
Because
if he seen what it was, right, he would have came back when they had the second or third meeting, right, when he had the meeting with them that went public, and he was like, oh, it's either me or those two. He would have went back like, all right, I see the moves you made. Let's move forward. He didn't do that. He didn't do it. They had to resell him on being there. They had to resell him
I
on
know.
staying. And
I'm telling you, he synced what the market was. He synced that shit wasn't going his way. Like nobody's finna give up their best player for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant.
The Nets was holding out. Why didn't the Nets pull the trigger earlier? Why wasn't they getting the first best deal that they could get? Because the niggas was
it was probably not. It wasn't enough.
It's not
because
a good deal.
Take anything.
Blowing smoke.
And Rudy Gobert fucked it up.
Yeah. They seen what Rudy Gobert was worth to the league. They like, fuck that. We know we got Kevin Durant. We finna run it up then.
You said what?
Like, you can't take less for Durant than they took for Gobert.
But it depends on what you look at as less.
Just value.
Less assets, less total assets.
But okay, so you're looking at, all right, they got 7 assets and the Nets got 5. But they got a star player back, and then they got 3 first-round top 10 protected picks. Like,
right? So that's what I'm saying. How much?
If I'm thinking like if I'm thinking like the Nets, if what I got for KD is comparable to what Utah got for Rudy, I lost.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thinking like that, I'm not thinking like that. But if I'm thinking,
but you also got to take Danny Ainge into consideration, bro.
No, I don't.
Danny Ainge is...
Yeah, the market is set. If Rudy Gobert is the 25th best player,
you think any other team got that for Rudy? If Rudy was on any other team, you think they got that for Rudy?
Yeah, I don't see why not. If they want him, all of that is based on like if you really want the guy. So like Rudy Gobert, he got a, you know what I'm saying, his reputation is kind of such and such. It just
leads me back to Minnesota. Like, do they really want to pay a Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy, or do they just want Rudy?
I don't think they can go wrong. I don't think Rudy gonna.
No, I think they're gonna be good this playoff. I think not the playoffs, the regular season. They'll figure it out and be good. They'll have a winning record. But I just don't know. I don't know. I'm lost in it. Like I do think the Nets were blowing smoke though. They were just trying to listen to KD until they figure out the way to make him stay. I'm not trading a guy like that. I'm sorry.
What did they figure out?
What's their best option? Why would
you really think in that meeting?
You can say KD saw his market, but what was different about KD's market from the time before, the week before he went to the management, and the week after he went to management, telling them he had to get rid of Steve Nash? There was no difference in the market. So if he's seen that in the market and he saw what his value was, he would have been made the decision to stay. He didn't. He still wanted out when he seen the market wasn't going the Nets' way. The net market didn't go the Nets' way for almost a whole month.
He don't do the negotiating, so it don't matter.
But he still knows what's being offered because they're talking to his agent. They're still relaying information to KD's agent. They're not just going into deals like, all right, no. If they're getting serious about a deal, they think they can make a deal happen. They're talking to his agent about it. So he knows what's moving. He knows what's not moving. He knows what teams are interested, what teams are not interested. You also got other people on other teams that are just called the agent and let the agent know what's up without even having to go through the Nets. So KD knows what his market was. Boo-Wop said that loud and clear. I understand that. But he knew what it was from the second week, the third week, the fourth week, the fifth week to the 6th week. Why did he wait to that 7th week to be like, all right, I'm going to stay?
Because they told him, like, hey, this is how much we value you. Nobody's biting. I'm not taking the.
What I'm saying is KD's seen that shit already. He's seen it already. The market is
the only way what you're saying makes sense is if you think he really if you think that the last conversation they had really truly convinced him in his soul, like, you know what, Brooklyn is.
I'm asking you what it was.
I don't think it is.
If I adamantly went off a team, right, and we say this about Ayton, we don't know if Ayton's going to play because he wants off the team. He doesn't want to be there, and I disagree with that. And I know Ayton's going to play, just like I know KD's going to play, and that's what I thought from the start. KD would be in a Nets uniform, and he's going to play. He's going to show up. Because people was then like, oh, he's going to retire. He's going to do this. I think all that shit was just blowing smoke. Like, a lot of reports that came out in this KD trade, them shits wasn't true. A lot of them wasn't true.
Well, it's just reports. So
we don't know what they was really offered for KD and what they really wasn't offered for KD.
Right.
We know what Rudy went for. We know what Donovan went for.
We can assume what they wanted based off.
You can assume.
Based off a plethora of reports. Like if we keep saying, from Boston they wanted all of this shit, and from this team they wanted all of this shit, and we get that from 6 different teams, we can. Maybe all of it's not true, but we can ascertain that, hey, the Nets want
No,
Like,
we can ascertain
you
without
feel
the
me?
reports.
20
We
acres.
can ascertain without the reports that when KD asked for a trade, the Nets wanted a boatload of shit for him.
Yeah.
We can ascertain that before Rudy even got traded.
Right.
But that's what
They
I'm saying.
wasn't finna do it. Like they wasn't. What you're
I don't
saying
think
is
they
true.
were.
What you're trying to say is that the Nets ultimately wasn't trying to sell let go of Kevin Durant. What I'm thinking is that they just didn't get the offer that they're truly looking for, because that's just the reality that
I just don't see it that way.
I don't think they
So,
went
Troy,
into
is
this
what you're saying
thing.
is if some team offered them too much, they still would have said no?
No, I think they take it because then they have no. If they could have got Devin Booker, they take that deal.
Right.
If they could have got Brown, I
That's what we
understand that.
said.
No, I understand that. But
That's what we're saying.
what I'm saying is I don't think the Nets wanted to pull the trigger on any KD deal. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted him there. That's what I just
You
said.
just contradicted yourself.
No, I'm saying me. I'm saying yes. That's what you guys are saying. Yes, they pull the trigger. Two things could be true at once. Yes, they would pull the trigger, but it doesn't mean they want to pull the trigger. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they want to pull the trigger on trading KD away. I think they want him there. That's why they gave him the 4-year contract to stay there and help them win a championship. And I think ultimately the end goal for them was to figure out a way to make him stay in the market of it going the way it went. Help them to keep him there. That's all I'm saying.
They got lucky. Danny Ainge kept KD in Brooklyn.
Danny Ainge did Danny Ainge things. I'm not gonna lie. He was on
That's
Boston
what
for
I'm
a
gonna
very
say.
long time.
Yeah, Danny Ainge kept KD in Brooklyn, because if that don't happen, his ass is out of there.
What Danny Ainge does.
I understand what you're saying.
I know.
Yeah, I just
You're trying to
don't.
say like Danny Ainge had a bigger hand in manipulating the situation than the public is led on to believe.
Inadvertently. I ain't saying it's no backdoor. I'm just saying it, like, once the Rudy, they got 5 players and 4 picks. Like,
but one thing I would give
for a top 25 player,
Danny
and KD is still either 5 or 6.
Danny Ainge is a great negotiator
like,
when it comes to trading pieces, because look what he did for Boston. Got all those damn picks and set us up for years to come. That was Danny Ainge. That was Danny who did that. So Danny's just doing the same thing he did with Boston over in Utah. That's why I said I don't think, like, to me, that's just Danny doing Danny things. He's just gonna sucker somebody into wrapping it up. And that's what Danny did. He wrapped it up.
He maximized. If he finds out, like, the Timberwolves clearly really think Rudy Gobert is going to make them a championship contender team, and they went all in. They feel like they have the time is now for them. They have the core, the young core.
I think he was
like
sweet
sometimes the market sets itself up, and the chips fall where they fall for certain players.
100%.
The same thing with Donovan. He had 2 players, disgruntled players on his organization.
He got rid of both.
He kind of figured that they just didn't want to be there no more.
Wait, so then I have a question. So, is it a failure, or do you think Utah won the trade then?
Well, that's yet to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's more. That's more in the long term, depending on what they do with their picks.
I think they. I mean, I think they got. I'm gonna say because they got exactly what they wanted. Yeah, they already know for both. Yeah, for Spider and for Gobert, they already know we blowing this shit up. We about to go on the rebuild. I want 100,000 picks. I want a whole bunch of decent tradable like dudes on my roster, and that's exactly what they got.
I guess hypothetically they both could win the trade, but do you think that can you say that it was bad for the Timberwolves to do if the Timberwolves do not win a championship with Rudy Gobert? Or no? Like, could you say that
I don't think it's bad
thing to do even if they don't win a championship?
I don't think it's bad because, one, it automatically make you a better team. It don't make you a championship team, but I don't think like Rudy hurt you at all. But it automatically make you a better team. And 2, like, you got to remember, it's Minnesota. It's a small market. You don't got, like, it's only a certain caliber of player that you even gonna have access to or be able, like, be in the talks to try to get. Like, so it's only so far you can, you know what I'm saying, extend your reach. I can say the same thing about Cleveland with Spider. Like, it's only Cleveland, like, hit the jackpot of the goddamn century by LeBron being born in Akron. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, like, them small markets, it's only going to be a certain caliber of player you going to have access to. Definitely a free agency. Like they not even picking up the phone. And then when trades pop off and shit like that, you got to try to get in where you fit in. And sometimes like you're going to overpay. And depending on at that point, you really like looking at your franchise guys like, hey man, is you going to hoop or no?
Well, that's what I was going to ask then too.
People said, remember people said the exact same thing when Milwaukee got Drew Holiday. They paid all them draft picks, all them. You muted, Troy. I can't hear you. I don't know if you can.
Talking about Danny Ainge. I'm talking about Danny Ainge. He's done that in Boston and it worked out. He's repeating his success in Boston, what success he had there, and he's doing that in Utah. He stripped the team. It's bare. Now he gets to work on his draft picks, building through the draft. And I think Danny Ainge is going to do a good job. I know it was his time to get out of Boston. He did what he could do there. There was no more he can do. We hit a stalemate with him. Now he's somewhere else where he has the opportunity to do it again. And I think he's going to do it again.
And then it's interesting for me because if you can definitively be confident that if you're like, okay, if we get this guy with what we have right now, then at that point, really no price is too much to pay. I feel like, because then if you wind up getting a championship, then it's like, or let's say like you could see into the future and know that like if you acquire this person, you guys are gonna win, right? Then at that point, you basically don't like give them anything they want.
Whatever you mortgage for a championship is worth it. Whatever it is, you can trade away 20 first-round picks if you get a champion. Like, it's worth it.
Like if that's the cost, then okay.
Yeah, and again, especially if you a small market. We just seen this with Milwaukee when they did that Drew Holiday deal. That's the only reception I seen was they gave away all them picks for Drew Holiday, all them picks, championship. Not saying that Drew Holiday was the only catalyst for it, but when you a small market, them the type of trades you gotta like. You gonna overpay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, definitely in a small market.
Yeah, that's the cost of being in a small market.
If you could rewind, and they were like, "Well, we want one more pick on top of that," I'd be like, "Okay, go ahead," because I already know that getting Drew's gonna give us the chip.
Exactly. So whatever I mortgage is worth it. Whatever I got to do is worth it.
Right.
Because this gonna be the shit. We won one 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
literally 50 years ago.
I have another question for you then. So like, but let's say by giving up all that, right? And let's say you get one as soon as you get the player, like within the first 2 years of getting that player, you get one. But then the team that got you your other end of the deal, let's say it takes them 4 or 5 more years, but then like let's say they get 2 or 3 or let's just say 2, I guess. Then would you regret it or
no? I'm more if like I can only see so much in my crystal ball. If I get a championship, I got a championship. Okay. I can't be like, oh well, I got 1 and they got 2. Like if I get 1 and they got 2, the most important thing to me is I got 1. Because in my current situation, I probably wouldn't have got the 1. And if I believed I would have got the 1, I wouldn't be trading with them motherfuckers. So if it do happen like that, that's like the Lakers and the Pelicans right now. If the Pelicans somehow won 2 straight titles, I wouldn't. Jeannie and Rob should
wouldn't
be like,
regret
oh man, the AD trade. Yeah, I wouldn't regret it. I got a championship as soon as I got another championship. That was my goal. They got 2. It might fuck with me a little bit because damn, they did get 2. But at the end of the day, I got my 1. Like that's what I did it for. Not to only get 1, but to get another trophy. Like it's not easy.
And it's funny because I was talking about somebody. I know we're on basketball right now, but the similar situation with Goff. Like, what if Goff ends up ending his career with 2 or 3 Super Bowls, but the Rams never get one again with Stafford? Then would they go back and undo it?
Because he didn't win with us. He won somewhere else. So I can't judge the success of that other team that had a player that I had because we 2 different teams.
No, I'm with you. I think getting the 1, you got it.
Yeah, whatever I mortgage, that's whatever. And then even at this point, like I can't even say, especially if you were small. I mean, especially if you were a small market. But even like the bigger market teams, most of them is like so fucked up management wise that like they lightweight they kind of putting themselves in the same boat by just being dysfunctional. Like if I was a free agent, I'm not really looking at the Lakers like, oh hell yeah, I'm about to go there because y'all shit is like a mess right now. The
Right,
Knicks
because
been a fucking
know-
a desert for 1,000 years. I say the
Right,
Clippers, the Warriors, the
in
Heat.
however many years from now, they're going to probably stink for several years.
Yeah.
Like probably in four years, the Lakers are going to stink, right? Like
They stink now already. They literally stink right now, and they projected to stink again 3 years after this. 3 seasons after they won the championship, and now most people projecting them to be maybe a play-in team or something like that. So
you don't think they one of the best 8 teams in the West right now?
No, I don't know. Yeah, no.
All right.
No, because the save, like, it's already a mediocre roster, and then the guys I'm counting on to carry it, their health is so in question that. Plus I ain't even gonna say the West, like the league in general is just stacked. Like the 9, if I would say if I just said power ranking wise, I would say the Lakers would be like 9th, and all them 8 teams above them is all like, if I ain't even talking about a championship, just saying like regular season, all 8 of them could realistically finish like over the Lakers, even if Bron and AD is healthy for 70 games.
Mavericks, Pelicans.
Like all them teams, I think just got better rosters straight up.
You think Memphis is better than the Lakers right now?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think it's just not the top, but just looking at the whole thing, like, yeah, the roster's better. They got a more established coach and culture, and they just got a different type of chemistry.
Warriors. One missing.
I'll say the Clippers, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Mavs, the Grizzlies. That's 5. Phoenix, the Pelicans, and the Timberwolves. That's 8. And I'll have the Lakers right there at 9. Now again, of course, that's like perfect world, because of course one injury to any of them, like, and the shit.
So if they don't make the playoffs, then it's not really, in your eyes, clearly a letdown in the sense.
No, not really. Unless it would be more only way I would be like, oh, it was disappointing, or it was if the path there somehow opened up for them through injury. So like, if not, I ain't even gonna say no specific names, but if a few of them teams, if they top guys went down for a year, or they top guys only played 20 games or something, and it's like, oh, they was gonna be one of the 3 or 4 best teams, now they probably won't even make the playoffs. Like an avenue like that opening up, then it'll be like, okay, the Lakers need to take advantage of this. But we know everybody ain't gonna be healthy, because everybody ain't healthy in no season. But just if the stars did align and every team stayed relatively healthy, yeah, I do think they'll still make the playoffs, just because I think they'll make the play-in, and it depends on who they draw. But like, in one play, that's the thing about the play-in, is only one game. In one play-in game, like, I could just see Bron just doing the shit for one game just to get in the playoffs. Like, if they did match up against Minnesota or New Orleans or Memphis or even Phoenix.
Yeah, but so where you're at right now is like, you don't think it's a big deal if the Lakers miss the playoffs, because you don't think that they're supposed to make it anyway? Is that?
So like, when I talk power rankings, I just mean like likelihood of winning the championship.
Okay.
Fuck seeding, for real, like fuck seeding, fuck did you win 50 wins or how many? Just likelihood I will put the Lakers 9. And I think if I was just thinking like regular season seeding, just how many games they're gonna win, they will probably still be around in that area.
Yeah, but
I do think, but I think having but the play-in exists, so I gotta like think about that. And when I think about that, and I'm like, Lakers Timberwolves, 1 game to get in the playoffs, I'm going with the Lakers. I know that, to me, I think the Wolves are a better. If it's a 7-game series, I will probably lean the other way, just because I think the Wolves are just a better, like a deeper team, a better team, more cohesive, like everything. But if it's one game just to get in the get in the playoffs.
But that's what I mean. So, like, if the Lakers make the second round, you think that they like are outperforming their expectations?
Hell yeah.
Hell
Something
Hell
didn't
yeah.
happen. Something didn't happen. Either Russ clicked, or they pulled off the Russ trade, or somebody they recently acquired just pop, like Juan Toscano Anderson just become like a 6 man of the year candidate or something. Or
So, like, aside from injury,
Darvin Ham is just like
Coach of the year.
his name. Yeah, like Boston. I can't think of Udoka. Yeah, Darvin Ham just become Udoka, and it's just like, wow, he got these motherfuckers motivated and everything. But yeah, them making the second round is like, you got to think about who they would have to be top. If
they would have to.
Yeah, like if they made it from the play-in, that would mean they would have had to beat some combination of New Orleans, Minnesota, Memphis, Dallas, whatever, and won another series.
If you give them the benefit of the doubt as far as injuries are concerned, right? Like, even if they were healthy last year, I would say just in year 2 of them just being together, like, you would expect them to be better, right? Like, as a team. Like, I would expect
not
Russ
necessarily
to be playing better. I would expect the Lakers in general to be better. Like,
I don't think that's a case by case thing, but I don't generally say like, oh, it's another year, so they should be better, because like it just depends on the degree of how good or how bad you were previously. Like the Lakers last year was just, the issues they had was just so many big glaring major issues that I can't just be like, oh, well, another year, so they should be better. Because it's like some of them issues is clearly still gonna be right
you're
there.
allowing them a really low floor.
Another year actually for them motherfucking things that they lacking hurts them. Like they only a year older.
Yeah.
Like it makes it worse for them. Like when people say that, it's like when you're 26, it's a difference. Like you're finna be 27. That's your prime.
Right.
When you 33, you finna be 34, it's a difference. Like,
right.
And that's Russ. LeBron is 38 years old. He still looks good, but still, come on. It's not a good thing. Like, I can easily see, yes, Russ playing his role a little bit better in the system. But just like you said, it's another year. The younger teams definitely got better. Trust me. They got better. Because they're in their primes. That's what you usually do. You get better in your primes. So
what do you think the Lakers
it's not going to be easy.
Ceiling, and I'm just not factoring in injuries or nothing like that for the whole league. Ceiling,
like if everything goes perfect for them, can they get into the second round?
I can see a 7 seed.
It's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to say. I can see them get. I can see them. Because I'm saying that's for the whole league. So I'm looking at the whole, like, not even the league, just the West. I'm looking at the whole West. Nobody had no catastrophic injuries
turned off.
They don't look like they would be one of the better, like, just if I just say regular season.
Like just in a perfect world, if everything goes right for them, but also you could go ahead and say it goes right for everybody else too. Like,
yeah, they wouldn't. They don't make regular season.
They don't make the playoffs.
Regular season, I don't think they would.
So you're saying in order for them to make the playoffs, everything has to go right for them, and somebody else.
You say injuries off, right?
Yeah,
injuries off. That makes it's fair for everybody if injuries off. Like I have to factor that in. So that means because a team like
the Clippers,
I think a team that can't afford an injury like obviously be the Memphis Grizzlies, right? If they lose a Desmond Bane or a Ja Morant for any significant time right now, because they already missing a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. That is a team I think the Lakers could kind of leapfrog. Because I don't think they're gonna duplicate what they did last year because they lost a couple of key guys on that team as well. Like a guy like Kyle Anderson. I know he ain't the biggest name, but he still was a starter for them. And you can't just duplicate what you did last year. Like I don't see it. So for me, I think if everything is fair though, no injuries, the Lakers are an old team. Like I don't see them. They didn't really get better defensively at all to me. And Anthony Davis can only cover so much ground. Like he can only do so much. Like it's the same thing with Rudy Gobert in Utah. Like it was only so much defensively he can do once those teams start pulling them out the paint, and that's going to be the same thing for the Lakers. You're just going to pull Anthony Davis out the paint and blow past LeBron, blow past Russ. Like that's what you're going to do. So I don't see it.
Let me get this clear. So in order for the Lakers to be able to have any sort of playoff success, what would need to happen is everything would have to be perfect for them on their side, but also part of the equation is they would have to have another team or two have something go wrong.
Yeah, they need the basketball. They need the basketball guys on their side.
Yeah, honestly, and it's like Cousin said, it needs to be like a play-in situation. Like I think they could beat a couple of teams, like in a play-in, a one-game situation. Like like if they can make a top 10, see my whole mindset when I'm thinking of the playoffs. Like I just don't think they're one of the 8 best teams, right? Like that's like Cousin said. Like I had to think about it. They're truly not talent-wise. They're just not one of the best 8 teams. Now, do we trust the hell out of LeBron James to in a one-game scenario to beat some of these younger teams? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Memphis is one. I think the Timberwolves is one. I think LeBron could definitely in a one-game situation beat those teams. Even the Pelicans, as young and talented as they are, I don't know if they're necessarily like just ready to beat a poised LeBron James with Anthony Davis and even Russ in them situations. Like I can see them playing balls to the walls, like in that game, like in go hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, and then like when I'm thinking everything perfect regular season, Golden State, Clippers, Denver, Dallas, Phoenix, them 5 teams, them to me is like the 5 best regular teams. So you automatically not gonna get no good matchup in the first round, even if you do get out the play in. And them 5, like I can't really, maybe Phoenix, because Phoenix a little. If Bron could just tap into it one more time and break them like Luka broke them last year, like kind of how like Giannis broke them, maybe. But them other 4, I just don't see that happening. So there's no way the Lakers beat the Warriors 4 times in the series. There's no way they beat the Clippers 4 times. There's no, even with Denver gonna have to acclimate some people from injury and some new guys and everything. But they don't beat Denver 4 times. They don't beat Dallas 4 times. It's just too. I just can't see that happening.
I can't see it either.
Yeah, me either.
It's not gonna let it happen.
Me either. But I'm ready to close this thing out. But you guys,
let's do it.
Final thoughts, boy.
You already know. See y'all on Wednesday, man.
Wednesday, we back on Wednesday. That's right, back with Zamara. We be missing Zamara. It'd be good to have her back. GK, final thoughts.
I would like to see LeBron win one more time. but basically what these guys are telling me is that it would have to be extremely lucky.
LeBron about to take his ass back to Cleveland. Get on that motherfucker.
At this point, right?
Man,
we got Spider in the land, baby. We got Spider.
You know what I'm saying? Bring Brian back. They need it. That's all they missing. A veteran. They get them a super vet like Brian just to come lead them boys in like a Chris Paul kind of role. Man, look, that's what he need to be thinking about.
Final thoughts, cousin Marcus.
Shout out Bucket City. Appreciate y'all bringing me on. Go Cavs. We got Spider, baby. we beating Philly.
Beating Philly.
First
that would
round.
be nice. I would like that. And then
Philly
get beat by Boston second round. Sounds good to me.
I'm okay with that.
Sounds good to me. I'm your boy Troy. This is From the Sideline.